Hello, my name is Krzysztof Zielinski, and I am absolutely delighted to be hosting a truly one-of-a-kind interview for Mały Leksykon Wielkich Zespołów. Today I'll be talking to the members of Ulysses Resurrection Project and the original driving forces of the legendary Australian German neoprogressive band Ulysses. So I'll be talking to Robert Zoom, Mirko Rudnik, and Thomas. Ulysses Resurrection Project, freshly established in 2021, is ready to resurrect its great legacy. Thank you very much for the opportunity and willingness to discuss the great comeback of yours, as well as talk about the story behind Ulysses.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for inviting us. After such a long time, we recorded the album about, don't know how many years ago?
33.
23.
Yeah.
33.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And firstly, I would like to ask you about the past, so the roaring 80s and 90s, so the times when it all began. And I have familiarized myself with the band's history, also thanks to your official website, which I actually recommend to everyone. And I must say that the story behind Ulysses is very dynamic and very fascinating. And the leap from a teenage band, as you put it, to a professional prog rock project is a wild ride. So my question is, how did Kingdom of Ulysses first come to be back in 1987? Could you share the story behind the creation of the band? You highlighted that the story began when Ender Kilik and Mirko Rudnik, two school friends, decided that they wanted to write songs like their prog idols from the 70s and 80s. Could you elaborate further on this subject?
Yeah, Ender and I, we met in the mid of the 80s and quickly found out that we are at the same page when it comes to our music idols, or especially that particular area of music. And
must be 8
so
years
we,
then. You must have been 8 years old then. Okay, no, it's okay. All right. So.
And then we started really at our homes to create ideas, to create musical ideas, to invited other musicians, tried many of them, drummers, singers, keyboard players, all located more or less in or around our hometown south of Frankfurt at that time. And luckily, after a couple of years where we were very unsuccessful in finding the right members, we met the guy Thomas Diehl from the area of Wiesbaden. And this, I might say, was the real starting point of the band. Because this was we were really lucky, the three of us, because we were all at the same page and we were so excited about right after the first rehearsal together. I can really remember when we did this, and in the very tiny rehearsal room, and that was the major start for us. And this was a long time before Robert joined.
I wasn't born then.
Yeah, that's right. It was always, I've grown up with, more or less progressive rock bands, and I always wanted to be part of a project like this, and but I knew it's not easy to find people who feel the same, who are in the same kind of feeling mood, and I was very happy when I met Ender and Mirko, because right from the beginning, I had the feeling these are the right guys for the kind of project I had in my mind a long time ago.
Thank you. And what were the biggest influences to form the band in the first place? I mean, did you have any specific bands and music genres that inspired you?
Of course, we had. Ender and my main influences came from the Marillion corner, but also as I am the guitarist, I'm still pretty much into Gerard music, and we also we were open-minded to any kind of progressive rock music. We listened hours and hours to the 70 Genesis records, old stuff, Marillions, can't remember what else, but many of them.
I have to say, one specific influence came from a band that was not very well known, and unhappily they never made it. They never really succeeded in becoming more popular, but they were located at Wiesbaden area. They're called The Dawn. Maybe you can find out a bit more about this band. It's very interesting history as well, and they really influenced me. I was going to their rehearsals, became friends with them, and yeah, they were like influenced by maybe Thundercraft Generator, Peter Hamill, and King Crimson stuff, and yeah, I was fascinated by how they were transforming it into a yeah, something new, but still related to their heroes. And yeah, that was one important influence, apart from, of course, bands like IQ, 12th Night also, yes, and Marillion, of course. But yeah, I can say, also influenced by some bands which are not so well known in the scene, and some of them got forgotten even.
And what about your personal musical roots? When did you first encounter progressive rock and decided that this is the genre that you want to create in? And what are your personal stories when it comes to music?
Okay, well, during the time the boys met in Wiesbaden and formed the band, 87, was it 87? Beginning of the 90s. What was that? Okay, I think I just finished my first musical project, and it was kind of anarchic punk band, so a complete different genre. But this helped me getting into music, being in a band, and it was a total different approach to music than the music I was listening to, because in my formative years, when I was 13, 14, I was happy to listen to Genesis music on the radio, and also to more adventurous pieces. There was a local radio show, and they had charts, and they played every week. They played the top 20 tracks, and there were the Lampleston on Broadway and the Knife were into the charts, the Carpet Crawlers, and I started from there. And later I approached King Crimson and Kansas, and but I'm kind of Genesis guy, I would say.
He knows everything of the band. Really,
don't ask. It took too long to answer. Yeah. Okay. No.
Yeah. One band I've forgotten is indeed Pendragon. Yes, I've been listening to Pendragon albums like when I was maybe 12 or something. They were not well known in Germany at all, but I mentioned the band called The Dawn. They also were big fans of IQ and Pendragon, and through them I also discovered these lesser known bands. That was definitely an influence. And I remember when Script for a Chester's Tear came out, it was like a show on radio, and they did not only present one song, they presented the whole album, and I was so impressed and emotionally touched that I thought I've never heard something like that before. For me, it was even more intense than the Genesis and Yes stuff I heard before, but I also know that critics said they are just trying to copy these heroes. But I was, from the first impression, I couldn't agree. I think Marillion, they created something new. For me, it was very touching and very emotional, and I can say Script for Just Here, for me, it was the most important album ever. And for my youth, I've grown up with the lyrics and the music, and it was very special for me.
I think it's important to say that. I don't know how old are you, Krzysztof, but when we get into music, you just had the radio, and later there were these fanzines, yeah. And how did you get to know new music? Through your friends, and if you're lucky, you had friends who knew good music, and maybe then when you are more into this kind of music and into the scene, you find all these fanzines, yeah, who grow up like mushrooms everywhere, yeah. And it was during the 90s, yeah, it was very mid 80s, 90s, was this fanzine, and you didn't have internet and everything around all the time, and every information available. It was a very different time, and it was very adventurous, and
yeah,
exactly.
I remember.
Sorry, I cannot remember when I came in touch with Pendragon music the very first time, but it was a friend of mine who brought me, as far as I can remember, is there an album called Fly High, Fall Far, or something like that? It's an EP or a full album, I cannot remember. But this was the first time I came in touch with Pendragon music, and this was exactly the area I was listening to, and I always listen. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much for your answers. And I would also like to ask you about the name of the band, because Ulysses is a modernist novel by the Irish writer James Joyce, which was published back in 1922. But Ulysses is also a Latinized name of Odysseus, so the hero of Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey. You also pointed out on your Bandcamp page that it was Thomas who came up with this name. Therefore, my question is, I guess, primarily to Thomas, what was the inspiration to suggest this name and to name the band this way? Was it James Joyce, was it Homer, or was it something utterly different?
It was actually James Joyce. I heard about this book, and it was said it's practically you cannot read it really. It's not a story. It's
you can.
very difficult to understand. And that fascinated me. I bought it, and I tried to read it in English even, and I had to agree it's really difficult to understand, but that was also something magical to it. and I thought that's a good synonym for the kind of music I would like to make. It should be like an adventure, but you don't know what's happening next, and sometimes it doesn't obey to conventions. It creates something new, and not everybody will understand, but it doesn't matter. Somehow it's fascinating. You can't describe why. And so I thought it sounds good, and I found it a good reference. James Joyce, the book, and that's about it. I know there are also I think we were the first band called Ulysses, but there are a couple, or at least 2 or 3 more.
Yes, of them,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the disadvantage.
yeah. The name is too good not to use. Yeah.
When starting a band or forming a band, there are 3 main difficulties you have. Find the right musicians, find a proper rehearsal room, and find a very nice band name. Those are really the main difficulties we had. I think all the other bands have had as well, but for us it turned out very lucky. We turned out very lucky.
Thank you. And I've got one question, because it's mentioned that Robert's first audition was a bit shaky, but it was the Sunday Rising. But it was the Sunday Rising that changed everything. And what was it about the specific track that made you realize that you found your musical home, and why was it shaky?
Well, I think we met around my birthday, and I was just moved to Frankfurt, and the guys had then their rehearsal room in the Frankfurt bunker, World War II bunker, and they gave me. I don't know. Do you know the Bromo cassette? From had a white cover, and it's all the tracks from this cassette are also on the reissue of the CD. But and they gave me this cassette, which you use for promotion, for gigs, and for record companies. And I listened. Started it, and I think it started with Sunday Rising, or was it Teenage? Sunday Rising, yeah. And
Sunday Rising, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it starts with Tom's piano and the chords, and then this guitar sets in, and this melody, and I was hooked. Yeah, you know, I know that's it. Yeah, it's a special. Yeah, and yeah, the mood and also the commitment of the players. Yeah, and what's the and the accomplishment. Yeah, it was yeah. As a musician, you can hear that. Yeah, and I played in a lot of other bands, and right before I had another audition which really doesn't fit, and this was a perfect match for me, at least. So, and well, I was there, and then I played. I was well rehearsed. I think this was not the problem, but I brought my my drum kit with me, and this was I had it since I was 14. Yeah, it was my dad bought it for me, and it was a very strange kind of drum kit. With normally you have this this setup with a 20 bass drum, 40 inch snare, and then 10, 12, 40 or 60 toms, and I had two toms which had the same size. Yeah, and this made the guys suspicious, I suppose.
We didn't realize.
Okay, okay. So, but I think I also I'm very I'm very open when with my opinion, and I think it was in the first rehearsal. I think it went well for me, and but I made suggestions what could be made better. And
I need to jump in here.
Yeah, okay.
Because we auditioned many drummers, and this guy was the first and really only one who started arguing about song structures and melodies, rhythm parts, whatever, I cannot remember. But I said to myself, who the fuck? But it turned out to be very constructive discussion there. And after that day or the rehearsal, I really liked it, and he played well, and we all together determined that he is probably the right guy that fits pretty well in our music.
And also I would like to ask you about yet another specific moment, because when Ulysses was looking for its vocalist, Gerard answered the band's calling for the singer, but he took a bold move and didn't apply for the request to improvise over the 12-minute instrumental piece, and instead he wrote the lyrics and melody for it, which actually in the end granted him the position of the frontman. And why do you think this approach charmed you and, well, helped you make a decision to hire him?
Well, at first it was very different. The most difficult, the major difficulty was finding a proper singer, and also we were very lucky to meet Gerard at that time, even though he came from a completely different area of music. And Anna and we really brainwashed him about our ideas and the musical environment, because all the other guys were into it, like Ender and I was. And yeah, I can remember that we sat together listening to different kind of music, not only our music, Marillion stuff, old Genesis stuff, just to get him the idea what we wanted to have from him.
I think this was the real miracle, that you could convince him that he could do better than being just another Elvis impersonation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also like to ask you, because just like the formation of the Ulysses, the process of writing and recording Neronia was equally unique and captivating. The story of Neronia coming to life starts with, I would say, all or nothing moment. Because when Gerard announced that he was leaving, most bands would have most likely quit, but instead you booked a studio in London to record an album. And not only to record an album, but to record it with clivenolan, Carl Groom, Tracyhitchings and Cliff Orsey. And what pushed you and inspired you to make such a bold move, and how did it all happen?
Courtesy to Thomas Diehl.
Yeah, I thought we had spent about maybe a couple of years or so writing this music, and it had come to a point where I thought we have to record it, because otherwise it might get lost, because when you try to find a new singer, maybe he try, or there will be new influences. You start writing new songs, but I thought what we had was already very good, and it's we shouldn't lose it. And that's why I thought we have to find a proper studio and we need some help, some influence, because we were very young. For me, Ulysses was the first band, and we were, when we met, about 17, 18 years old, so we didn't have much experience. So as I said, I was always influenced by bands like Pendragon and clivenolan. He was not only writing music that time, he was also publishing a magazine called Secret World, and I was writing this magazine, and he also, this time we didn't have like internet, and he sent tapes with the magazine, and I found that he was doing a very good work as a producer and discovering new talents and producing them in their Thin Ice studio. They didn't have much money either. The studio was kind of improvised, but what they made out of it, it impressed me. And so I just booked a ticket to London without telling them anything, just found out the address,
okay.
and was standing in front of their home door with my demo tape, Teenage Sweethearts, Sunday Rising, and
Soul Creation.
Soul Creation, I guess.
Yeah, Soul Creation. Yeah, a track that never
which
made it.
Which didn't make it on the album.
Yeah, that's a
Finally.
pity.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I just asked them to just listen to it, and I remember that Carl Kroom, he was especially impressed by Teenage Sweethearts, and when he listened to it, he said, "Okay, you can come." And the price he offered was very fair, I have to say. So yeah, I thought that's our chance. We will never get this chance second time, and that's why I thought everything's perfect now. We have written like a couple of songs, and we have reached a certain state of our development where it makes sense to just record them and then maybe go to the next stage. Yeah, and that's the reason why we recorded this album, even though we knew Gerard was leaving. But I really liked and still like his voice. I think it's very special, and I knew it will not be easy to find someone like him with a voice like this again. So before he leaves Germany, going back to Australia, I wanted to take this chance and record this album.
And also, we had no idea what would come after this. Yeah, all the thing with touring, with supporting Pendragon. If we had thought of this before, yeah, I don't know if we had recorded this album.
This came all after the recordings, and and we were truly really grateful to Thomas' idea. And he didn't told us about he didn't tell us about this at that time, but he came in the rehearsal room and with the final idea, or it wasn't an idea, it was an order for us.
How do you say it? Es gibt news, or so? I have news for you, boys, or something like that. How do you introduce the idea?
I have to say, I didn't remember, Mirko, that I was not had not been telling about this before I went to London. I just did it, and I surprised you with the news. Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Must be around
25 years
Christmas.
ago, I didn't know
But
this detail.
it wasn't the worst day in our music.
Okay. Interesting. I thought I had told you before. Okay.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Well, that is a very nice story, and I would also like to ask you, because recording Neronia at Finite Studios in London with Clive, Carl, Tracy, and Cliff, who had back then already established their position in the progressive world, I believe must have felt a bit like stepping into another world. Therefore, I would like to ask you, what were the recording sessions like, and how do you feel about the experience now? What was Finite Studios like?
Yeah, I mean, I start because I first saw it and was a bit surprised, because I know or I knew that Clive and Carl, they were like big names in progressive scene that time. Threshold was not yet founded or about to be found, I think. And but Clive, he was of course keyboard player with Pendragon, and so yeah, I was a bit nervous when I first met them, but they turned out to be very, very kind and cool guys, and we had, I must say, really great time. They never looked at us like you are like a teenage band from Germany. They took us serious, and we
The
worked
Germans
really
coming.
hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really impressed by their personality. I have to say, they both are special and very calm and relaxed, but also professional, and they know what they are doing and they know what they want, and it was also personally encouraging and enriching meeting with them. And we spent a lot of time, I don't know how many days or weeks we spent there, but we also lived at their home. We just had like mattresses and slept on the floor. And they got up very late every day. I remember that. We also got
we
a bit
out of our sleeping room.
Yeah. we already got nervous because we thought, okay, it's already 12 o'clock, when will we start working and recording? But then we had sessions until very late every night, and they did a really great job. I have to say, I'm still very thankful for this time, personally, not only for musical career, but it was a very nice experience for me as a person as well.
Yeah, at that time we were very inexperienced. We just went to studio 1 or 2 times before, but we were well prepared, I really must say, and our time was limited, so we at that time we better play good and fast, which we all did. And although we had some difficulties, because the strategy was that Carl and Clive were supposed to be the producer of the album, and we had no idea about what a producer really does. So we had some
stays up late. Yeah.
some serious discussions about something, but eventually I'm really grateful for the input and how the progress of the entire recording sessions went. Even if we, or I remember the very last night, I don't know how many hours, until 6 in the morning or something. So,
Mirko, do you remember having a conflict with Clive or Carl? I don't really, but maybe we had.
Yeah, I don't even want to call it a conflict, but yeah, we had discussions because they had some ideas with some parts. I cannot remember which ones, to play it differently somehow. And Ender and myself, we were totally not convinced about that stupid idea at that time. But we did it the way they wanted, and it was definitely the right decision to do it. Because when you're a musician, it's difficult to, you are in your one-way street. And the producer has a different light and maybe other ideas, and it was great to have them.
Yeah, but we have to say that.
I mean, it's your baby. The songs are your babies, and you've been playing them like that for like 2 or 3 years, and then someone says, "Try it that way." Might be better, then you're not like really convinced. But
maybe, I think especially all people in the band have very strong opinions about music and about their part in the music. I can convey this with my experience from other bands. Yeah, so.
You had the whole album done before going to London, right? Or did you like compose a piece or a track already in England?
No, Gerard just finished the lyrics for Where the River Runs in his flight or to London, but Where the River Runs was the very last song. But all the other songs were really, we played that all the other songs for a really long time, and we were very familiar and very well prepared. and all these songs went through this long development process, and we were very, very convinced about that the songs are really great and that they work. And then we had these difficulties because we were so convinced, and then Clive and Carl came with some other ideas, but which ended up as really helpful and as a great contribution to our music.
May I chime in? And I think we had also I think 3 of the songs, besides Where the River Runs, 2 other songs were not so long written than the other songs. I think it was Days and it was Miss Tinkwit. But we were always very enthusiastic if we have written new material, and we thought, oh, this is great, this has to be on the album. But I think in hindsight, I would have chosen maybe Soul Creation or Call for Caution to include on the album. Yeah, this would have been a great fit too. Yeah.
That's right. We made some mistakes choosing the right songs.
yeah.
Or what do you think?
A better album. Yeah.
And do you think yes, please.
Mirko, what do you think about Soul Creation on the album? Would have been good. No.
If we would play it today, I have a clear idea how it should sound. The recording we did before Thin Ice in this other studio in wherever, it still sounds a bit weak. But maybe it comes only from the quality of the recording. Or maybe how, I was not very convinced about my guitar work, to be very honest.
Okay.
Okay.
Nonetheless, the Soul creation found its place on the Neronia 30th anniversary remaster as a demo.
God's sake, yeah.
And
Yeah,
do you think? Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, I have to say I was not really that much involved in this resurrection project as Robert, and he spent a lot of time putting all these hidden and forgotten tracks together on the CD, and yeah, I'm grateful that he did that. So yeah, it's nice that they are not lost forever.
Forever lost, yeah. Okay. No pun intended.
And coming back to Finnish studios, do you think that the appearances of Clive, Carl, Tracy, and Cliff helped Neronia and Ulysses open doors for the band within the wider prog community in the United Kingdom and internationally?
Of course, yeah. I think we didn't thought about it during the recordings, yeah. But afterwards, it was clear, yeah. Everybody saw the album was produced by clivenolan and Carl Krum, yeah, and they had to listen to it because of this, yeah. You had instantly you had a public, yeah, who otherwise maybe would have passed on the album.
It was a clear boost for the record and everything that came after that, and even that we got the chance to support Pendragon at their Windows of Life tour. It was phenomenal, really phenomenal that this helped us so much. And as Robert said, we had no idea about this would never be the strategy when we went to Thin Ice to record the album. We just went there and didn't think about what is coming after that.
Of course, we were hoping it might help us, but we didn't know to what extent, and because we were able to support Pendragon right after it was published, Neronia was published. This was a lucky coincidence, because yeah, also touring with them opened a lot of doors, and we were able to play at festivals in Holland, and we have been, of course, to Poland as well, which was something that would never have happened to a debut album if you had different producers. So I think everything went out very lucky, and we were really lucky that we met them and that we got on very well with each other, which is not given. But also personally, as I said, we were having a very good time. And so I think it was a good package. It was good decision. Everything, sometimes in life, everything just comes in time and it's right, and you don't know why it's happening like that, but it's great that it's happening. It's something magical maybe, and yeah, I think that's really the music for me has a lot of magical moments that we cannot describe. Our music, that we were very young, we just started and late, and we didn't have experience, and still we created some magical pieces, I think. And also the fact that we met Carl and Clive and did that tour also was magic. Yeah.
let me add something. In Germany, in our hometown and in our rehearsal room, I think besides the dawn of the quiet earth later on, we were very isolated. Yeah? We were the only band doing this kind of music. Yeah, in between new wave bands and all other kind of music bands. And when we arrived, and we had some very catastrophic experiences in studios and with the music biz in Germany before, and then we went to England, and there was the first time there was a proper Prog music scene. Yeah, every day lots of musicians came into the studio. All the guys who later played in Threshold, yeah, and David Wilson and all the other guys.
Yeah, we also went to JD's concert together and met Gary and what else? Yeah, a lot of people.
What was the name of the venue? This music club.
Pardon?
What was the name of the venue? Where were these
I
concerts?
don't remember.
Yeah,
but it was really a nice experience to suddenly be part of this progressive rock scene in the UK. In Germany, it was weak still. Yeah.
And I would like to ask you about the album itself, because I believe thematically it revolves around adolescence and childhood, problems, perils, traumas and dangers. And I would also like to ask you, how do you think the album resonates in the current world in 2026? Do you think that the topics and themes it references to are still relevant? And how do you see it now? What changed between 1993 and 2026?
Very interesting question. Have you been talking with Gerard about that as well?
Yes, I have. Yes. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the lyrics in detail, yes.
Yes. Okay. So when it comes to adolescence and youth and being a teenager now and then, I think it's quite a different kind of setting, because I think that social media and artificial intelligence, for example, that changes a lot, because people or young people, they don't meet as much as we did, because they don't have to. They do a lot of things online. They don't make the experiences like maybe we did in that time in real world, and a lot of them have a lot of fears and are very aware of their outer appearance, and that matters a lot, maybe a lot more than it did in our time. And I think this is different, but also, of course, you have similarities when it comes to making first experiences with growing up. Yeah, maybe Robert, you also very much into the lyrics of Gerard. Yeah, maybe you can say something more about it.
And not about Gerard's lyrics especially, but I think about the experiences. Thomas, you as well. We both are fathers to late teen sons. Yeah, and well, if I remember my own youth and now seeing my son going through the same stages and how different it is, and and trying to understand how he copes with the same developmental situations. Yeah, we have all have to go through, and that he has his use and most of his childhood without music. Hey, he's my son, you know. And how could that happen? Yeah, instead playing and then sitting in front of his computer or his cell phone. And yeah, this makes me sad, I think. And I'm thinking of ourselves as musicians, as a dying breed, really. Yeah, because with all these AI coming up, who will do the efforts to learn an instrument? Yeah, and going. This is a really hard way to become a good musician and find the likes, yeah, as we did, luckily, yeah. And I don't think I don't know if this is possible anymore today.
And Mirko, what would you say? Because you don't have kids of your own, but the album is not only about adolescence, but it's about, yeah, it's reflects a special atmosphere maybe of the time when we wrote it.
Yeah, I agree with Robert and you about the personal problems or teenage difficulties, but I truly might say that that the music we wrote more than 30 years ago still touches or is still emotional for myself, and I truly believe for our audience, and it really works. And this is the initial idea we had some years ago when we first met again after many years, and Ender and Robert met, and we met, yeah, because of the Eclipse magazine, and then we had the idea, and hopefully this will come, or we have the chance to release that, to re-record all the musical stuff that has never been released, and we have lots of it. And of course, there was the other idea to re-record the Neronia album.
Why should you do that? I may ask. Yeah.
No, just maybe to express, to have a expression of the modern times we now have, and the abilities and the possibilities we have with having our own studios at that time. And every one of us is truly grateful for the chance that we recorded at Thin Ice. But now we have, as I said, the ability and possibilities to make it, or to make some of those creative processes in this particular album, Neronia, even more better than we may have or did back in the 90s.
Thank you.
I'm fully convinced with the album at that time, but I cannot remember why we had this idea, but we had 50% of all the stuff for the next album almost ready before we quit, unfortunately. Yeah.
Ulysses has been resurrected under the name Ulysses Resurrection Project, and I would like to ask you what inspired you to rebuild the kingdom of Ulysses. How did it come to be that back in 2021 you decided to come back to your roots and continue your legacy?
Yeah, well, let me. I've always showed this magazine. I don't know if you are aware. It's a German magazine. It's not a purely prog magazine, but adult-oriented rock and also prog. And this young lady on the cover whispered in my ear, and no, they published an issue in December 2011, January 2012, and they had some kind of a prog story in this, and then this was the last part of it, and this was about the German prog scene, and they made a kind of top 50 or top 30
top 40
bands, top 40 bands, and
top 40 top 40 progressive rock records, German records of all time.
Yeah, and in the year 1993, it happened that they choose our records, the Neronia record, to be the best album for this year. And we thought, holy shit, yeah, what? And we came together because we how do I see in English? Independently from each other. We found this magazine and wrote the article, and then we phoned each other, yeah, and came together and talked about what should we do with this, yeah. And we decided let's try and record something. And I think I don't know, I'm not quite sure. The first idea was to re-record the album, yeah, for whatever reason. But I think as a listener, when you have been used to the sound of the album, to how the songs evolve and the song order and everything, I think it would not make sense to do another version of this album. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, because this is the album. Yeah, this is it. And but we have been there, and where there were so many limits. Yeah, during this album, because I think we had a 8-track tape, yeah, running, and we didn't have a proper guitar cabinet, yeah, amp and cabinet, and we had no proper drum set, so it was okay for what it was, but it wasn't the sound, the same sound when we played the album or the pieces of the album live. Yeah, it was, and actually we already did 3 or 4 songs from the album, re-recorded it already, and well, they came
it's not
out
finished
rather,
yet. It's not finished yet, but
yeah, I think they should be released someday. Yeah, in which form, I don't know, but I think they will find a place out there. Yeah.
Thank you. And I would also like to ask you about the band Neronia, which has, for example, released an album called Nerotica back in 2004 and has even recently in 2026 released the album Two Lives. And where does the band Neronia, named after the album of the same name, fit into the whole puzzle, into the whole universe? And how and when did it come to life? What's the story behind it?
It's a long story.
It's a complicated story as well.
And very, very complicated, because after Ulysses quit, there were countless changes in the personnel, and they left at some point. Then he came back at another point. We had different keyboard players, different singers, and eventually we started the band Neronia with another bass player, without a keyboard player, and with Robert and Falk and myself. And yeah, it was never the same. The same emotions for myself. I only speak for myself. The same emotions, the same vibe in the rehearsal rooms or the studio where we recorded it than we had with Ulysses. And it was maybe something like a compromise just to move on in our music lives. I really must say. The album is okay, but it went in a different direction, especially if we didn't have a keyboard player at that time. So there are some keyboard parts on it, but it was not the same. A good example, for instance, the track "She Cat" is, if you carefully listen to that recording and the recordings we have with Ulysses, there's only a live release. This automatically tells you what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, may I add some ideas to this? There was also another Ulysses band involved in all this mess, and I think they were from the Black Forest. They contacted us after we released the record, and that hey guys, we are Ulysses. We have the rights for using the name of it, and we thought, how could this happen? Yeah, and because we thought Thomas had secured the right on the name of the band, but I think Thomas, you only secured the right on the band logo, on the picture of the logo, and so this took us by surprise totally, and this. We thought, oh, what should we do? There's a well-established band, and having their lawyers coming at us, yeah, and what should we do? Yeah, and it was catastrophic. I know very well. I have this feeling again, yeah, when I talk about this, yeah, and so we thought, okay, maybe it would have been a good idea to change the name into the name of the album, yeah, to have this connection, yeah, for everybody outside of the band, and there were the first version was I think was a band, and I think we had another keyboard player, and we have all the great recordings from this time, and later on, yeah. The mess began, I think, when Thomas left the band. From there on, everything went downhill, because I think as Ulysses of a band is a kind of jigsaw, yeah. So, and it fits so well, yeah, with these 5 guys. Even if it wasn't easy to go along with each other, yeah, because yeah, when the ego is involved and strong opportunities about music, yeah, and but Ulysses weren't a band like the Beatles or Rolling Stones, where you have a strong songwriters duo. yeah, writing all the music, because in Ulysses everything everyone was a writer, yeah, and this all together made the sound of the band, yeah. And if you remove a piece of this puzzle and try to replace it with another, yeah, if it would work in the best case scenario, you will just get another picture or another different color or tone or a different sound, but something will also be missing all the time, yeah. And in our case, with what was the worst case scenario, this puzzle will no longer fit together. It will not work. Yeah, it wasn't easy before. Yeah, but it did work in a way. Yeah, and this does not happen. Or yeah.
Thank
also,
you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry. And also, we were, when we started the band, we were at the end of or in the last school years or doing our studies, and we had a lot of time on our hand. Yeah, and not many other commitments besides it. Okay, Thomas, you had a lot to do with your studies, yeah, and you were away during the week, and but the others, we had all time of our life, yeah, just doing music, yeah, and this changed after the album, yeah. School's ends, and we started to go into the working life, and the other commitments became stronger and more important, and this doesn't pay into the working band. Yeah, this makes things very difficult.
Thank you. And to change the subject, I would like to ask you about your relationship with Poland, because back in 90s your music was presented to the Polish audience by Tomasz Beksiński, who is considered to be one of the most brilliant radio presenters and reviewers in Poland. Nowadays it was presented in MWLZ, but also in Rockowa Wyspa, Radio Audition by Rafał Błaszkiewicz. And what's more, a remastered and expanded 2 CD set of Neronia was released in October 2023 on the Polish label GAD Records to mark the 30th anniversary of the first release. Moreover, it is crucial to mention that back in the 90s you played in Poland, and as you put it, in Poland the tide turned. For example, you played in Zabrze in 1994 in Dom Muzyki Tańca when you opened for Pendragon, and in Warsaw in Klub Stodoła. And how would you describe this unique and specific bond that you have formed with the Polish fans? Does the energy of the Polish audience occupy a specific place in your hearts? And how do you recall those gigs you had in Poland?
I think, especially for progressive rock, Poland, from my point of view, has always been a perfect place, because people are very open-minded, and I probably speak for all of us during the tour with Pendragon. The most emotional experiences we had in Poland and Warsaw and in Zabrze during those 2 live performances, I really must say. It was it was phenomenal.
Yeah, the venues are the atmosphere was extraordinary. It was really a different world. I think it was Warsaw where we played in this like theater.
No, Zabrze.
Yeah. Yeah, that was unbelievable for us that we were able to play at a place like that, and we never did before or after. And for Polish fans, we were not just a teenage band from Germany. We were like proper progressive rock setup, and they really gave us the feeling that we were not. Yeah, they gave us that we wrote some really touching music, and they really understood what we were aiming at and what we wanted to tell with our music. And one specific I want to add is that at some one location, we also were supported by Collage, the Polish band, and I was really impressed by them. I really liked what they were doing. They were great musicians and great songs. Never heard of them before. And we met them again in Holland a couple of months later, and they did a really great show. And I have to say, I'm a bit sad that they also quit after, I think, 3 albums or so, and they I don't know exactly what they were doing afterwards. Maybe you can tell us. But yeah, I think they were really brilliant musicians.
Yeah, I must say we were absolutely stunned when we arrived at the Dom Musici Danza in Sapsche. Yeah, it was such a huge place. I think it was 2,000 seater or something like that. It was huge on the outside, and it was even more huge on the inside. Yeah, when you staying on the stage and looking into this huge surrounding, yeah, and was empty, yeah, at the beginning. But when we came back to play our set, it was completely crowded, yeah, and the people shout our name, yeah. They ask for the band, yeah, to come on stage. And the gig before, I think Sapsche was a second or third gig on the tour, yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, we had
very early
a warm-up gigs, and then I think one in Germany, and then Sapsche and Warsaw.
Yeah. Okay, and the gig before, the stage was so small, we even could put all our equipment up there. I think I had to sit on the window bench. I had no place to place my drum chair there. And this story was told to me by a group of German fans who saw us on the tour, and I hadn't forget it before. But coming from this kind of stages to such a great place and to such a great audience, yeah. And I don't know if you know. I think 2 years ago, the show popped up on YouTube from Club Sodola in Warsaw. And this was an audience recording, and it was such a great recording. You can listen of the reaction of the audience and the communication between the music and the audience, and the band and the audience, and how well the music was received, and how all interact to make such a great evening for everybody involved. This is I tried to get in contact with the one who posted it on YouTube, but to have the chance to evolve it to a proper recording, a proper live recording, but up until now without success. But I ask everyone to listen to this concert on YouTube. It wasn't our best concert musically. Yeah, we were very early in the tour, but the atmosphere is unbelievable. Yeah.
I have to say that I think the people, Polish people, they seem to have a special reception or sensor for what we are trying to, to say with our music. I think the magic we felt when we were playing, they felt it as well, and it's was for me different from other audiences we played for. I had the feeling they were very much into it, and they knew exactly what we want to express, and they
appreciate it. Just
and so I think Poland is a special country for that kind of music, for us at least.
We should move over there. Maybe that's okay. Okay.
And before I ask you the last ultimate question, I'd like to go back in time again and ask you about your most vivid and most memorable musical experience. What was the most captivating and most charming and perhaps most exciting in your musical career so far? Was it supporting Pendragon? Was it the Prog Festival in Stuttgart, or maybe Aurora Borealis Festival in Tilburg, or perhaps a gig in Zabrze? Please tell us.
Difficult question.
There were a couple, of course, but you already named them all. I mean, the Aurora Borealis Festival went really great for us, in front of a phenomenal audience. Not at the same level at the Polish audience when we played in Warsaw and in Zabrze, but it was, for me, it was always a sign that our music is heart touching to the audience, and not only for us, but this is the most thing for a musician that is or really makes sense. We've never been a band that wrote music for other people, but it's even better, and it's convinced yourself that you do the right thing at the right time. That was when playing in Warsaw, when playing in Zabrze, when playing at Aurora Borealis, and there were a couple of other live performances as well.
Well, I think when you a special moment when you connect with the audience, when you have the feeling, they are into the music, like yourself, sometimes it's difficult, because when you're on stage or before you go on stage, you have to think about so many things. Don't forget this break, and and move this how do you say, move this switch in the right position at the right time to have the sound you need, and so you are in a hurry when you're on stage, and you can't you cannot really enjoy it in the moment, but afterwards, and if you have a good recording of the show, you enjoy it even more. If it was a good show and there's a audience connected with you. But I would say, for me, also another kind of musical experience is very interesting, or it's the wrong word. Overwhelming is the right word, and this is when we are in the rehearsal room, and when the music comes together in the rehearsal room, when someone has at the beginning, we were often somebody came with a new idea, and he has written and showed it to the band, and then played it, and then someone else joined in. and then it starts to evolve and get bigger and bigger and more beautiful. Yeah, and later on we started to improvise in the rehearsal room, and it don't came with written music, but started to play and interlocked with each other. And in these moments when out of chaos, yeah, comes a new piece of music. This is the best moment you can have as a musician, I think.
And there was always one sign that we were on a good way for this particular pieces of music. It was when Thomas came off his keyboards to the guy who was most involved in the writing of this particular music and shook his hand. and he never said anything. It just moved to the guy, shook his hand, and went back to his keyboards. Then it was a sign that it was something special.
I have to admit, as I said before, sometimes something magical happened when we were improvising and composing, and I was touched myself and impressed by musical ideas from the other musicians. And yeah, I think this was maybe more touching and important to me than big venues and audiences. Yeah, the magic I felt when a song was put together by 4 people in a cheap and dirty and cold,
stinking, sweaty, yeah, room. Yeah. I think Thomas was the guy giving the ultimate approval. He was the one. Yeah, only he could do this.
Yeah, I don't think so, but
yeah,
it just showed when I liked it. Okay.
I've got one final, probably the most important question, because since Ulysses has already been resurrected, I'd like to ask you about the future now. And what are your plans? Are you planning to record and release new music soon? And are you planning to go on a concert tour perhaps? And if so, will you play perhaps in Poland?
Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be.
We have many plans. And of course, we will release musical pieces one by one at first, very, very soon. I really must say. I mean, it's for us, life has changed, and making music is always time consuming. And Thomas, for instance, is not a member of this project anymore, and so is Ender. So all the work is on the shoulders of Robert and myself, and Gerard being involved in contributing the lyrics and the vocal melodies. But we've been through many difficulties from technical side and also from musical side, but I think we are on a very, very good way. And Robert and myself, we truly work together very well. We fit together. We live.
Thank you, Mr. Rudnik.
we live by car. It's a 30 minutes drive, but 90% we work remotely. He has his own studio, I have my own studio, and it's fully equipped with everything you can imagine. And as I said, the only problem we have is that we don't have enough time. That's why we and our audience needs to be patient. But we are about to release a song that was written right after the Neronia album. I guess it was 95 or something. And our plan is to release as many new tracks, maybe an EP, and eventually, of course, another album. Whoever will be involved, maybe Thomas as well, but we are keen on doing that, and the progress is there. It takes longer than back in the 90s.
Yeah, I think we made one maybe last attempt to get the band together to play live, and this was for the Night of the Prog, the last festival, because Pendragon played there as well, and we that wouldn't it be a great idea to have the same setup and play together with Pendragon at this great stage. But Winfried from Night of the Prog wasn't convinced. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he really knows us. I don't know. I'm not into his head. But right now we produce music, lots of music, and and we are also in negotiations to bring the album to the US. Yeah, because in the meantime, right now we only have the possibility to sell streams or downloads via Bandcamp, because it's too expensive. Yeah, to send something into US of A. You all know the reasons. Yeah, and I think we had a idea, and I think we found a way to make it happen, but nothing is signed and sealed yet. But maybe we can publish another version of the album over there.
And all of our new music that is coming. Yeah.
In that case, I am keeping my fingers crossed for you, and I believe these are all the questions that I have prepared for you. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today. I truly appreciate you sharing the details of your band's journey and providing such valuable insights. And before we wrap up, I would like to open the floor to you. And is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to mention? Is there anything you would like to add? Please do.
Well, yeah, thank you first having us. It was a real pleasure talking to you. And well, if I had a wish, I would love to play in Poland again. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just a wish, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, you were very well prepared, and thank you very much. I think you really doing a great job doing the way you're doing the interviews. I really like you're very calm, relaxed, but very straightforward, and I really appreciate the way you are approaching the interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krzysztof, for your enthusiasm and for having us here after such a long time. And it will help to support me personally, knowing someone, and maybe other guys from Poland and where else. And yeah, we do our best to accelerate the process. And our dream totally lives on, that we return to the stage at some point in time.
The story isn't over yet.
Okay. In that case, once again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Ulysses Resurrection project is back and is ready to take the world by the storm again. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Krzysztof. Bye-bye.
Thank you.